This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Mentally challenged man chases away armed bank robbers, says senior cop. A mentally challenged man with a piece of hose chased away 4 heavily armed men who attempted to rob a PC bank in Summerhill, St. James yesterday. The incident was captured on videos and has gone viral on social media. Reports are that the gunmen accosted the female guard at the bank and while trying to enter the office were reportedly challenged by a shirtless man from the community who called out to them. The gunmen fired several shots at the shirtless man and then fled the bank. The security guard was not armed, but the acting head of the St. James Police, Superintendent Carlos Russell, told the news that the man who challenged the gunmen was of unsound mind. He is mentally unstable, Superintendent Russell said. It was a piece of hose he had in his hand. Police sources say the shirtless man reportedly pointed the hose at the gunmen and made several gunshot sounds with his mouth. Believing they were being fired on, the gunmen fled. In one of the videos, a car drives into the bank's parking lot and the 5 men exit and accost the female security guard. 4 men entered the bank and 1 stayed outside with the guard. He is seen pulling her on the ground. Inside the bank, the other videos show the men attempting to break the glass to get into the teller. One uses his handgun to hit the glass. Another uses his rifle and the magazine falls out. One of the riflemen goes to the gate of the PC bank and seems to fire at someone. He runs back to the car and is followed by the other gunmen who drive away. As their vehicle speeds off, the shirtless man now comes into the picture. He temporarily chases the car before turning back and walking into the bank's premises. The video then ends. Negril man tries to rob a licensed firearm holder, shot and arrested. 22-year-old Jermaine Baker of Whitehall, Negril in Westmoreland was arrested and charged by lawmen assigned to the Hanover Police Division after he attempted to rob a licensed firearm holder on Norman Manley Boulevard, Negril, on Friday, June 3. Baker has been charged with wounding with intent, illegal possession of firearm and ammunition, and attempted robbery. Reports are that at about 8:15 p.m., a couple was sitting on the bench when they were approached by Baker, who brandished a firearm and made demands for them to hand over their items. When his demands were not met, he opened fire on the couple. The man, who is a licensed firearm holder, opened gunfire at Baker, who escaped on a motorcycle. Baker, who later turned up at the hospital for medical attention, was pointed out to the police. He was charged and placed under police guard. The couple, who also received gunshot wounds during the melee, were admitted at hospital. Spanish Town shooting linked to Clansmen gang feud, police suspect. An internal feud linked to Clansmen gangsters is suspected to be behind last night's shooting of 3 men on Jones Avenue in Spanish Town, St. Catherine. The incident happened around 8:27 p.m., police sources said. The Corporate Communications Unit of the Jamaica Constabulary Force confirmed the shooting as a non-fatal but said it had no further details. All 3 persons remain in hospital, with 1 said to be in serious condition. One of the men who was shot is allegedly a member of the Blackman faction of the Clansmen gang, a police investigator told the news. That faction is known as a Wandon, and its alleged leader, Andre Blackman Bryan, is currently on trial with other alleged members before the Home Circuit Court over their involvement in the gang. It's understood that 2 of the men were at a bar and the 3rd was returning from a shop when a motorcar drove up with men aboard who fired on them. 1 man reportedly drove himself to the hospital, while the other 2 were assisted. The attackers escaped. The police have named the Spanish Town-based Clansmen gang as one of the country's most notorious criminal organizations. 2 persons shot in Waterford Portmore. 2 persons were shot and injured in Waterford Portmore in St. Catherine this morning. The Corporate Communications Unit of the Jamaica Constabulary Force confirmed the incident. It said the shooting took place sometime after 10 o'clock. The 2 persons were taken to the hospital. The CCU said it had no further details and investigations are underway. St. Anne police seized the homemade firearm, a man in custody. The St. Anne police have charged the 23-year-old Trey Walker, a laborer of Claremont and the Steartown communities in the parish, with illegal possession of firearm and ammunition on Saturday, June 11. Reports are that a police team was on mobile patrol in the Beechamville community when they signaled Walker to stop a motorbike he was driving. A search of the motorbike was conducted, and a homemade firearm with a 9mm round in the chamber was found under the seat of the motorbike. He was charged after a question and answer session. Migrant nurses could likely return to work temporarily locally, Tufton said. Some of the island's trained nurses who migrated to take up employment opportunities overseas may soon be required to return to Jamaica to be employed on a temporary basis through a collaborative program being formulated by the government and overseas health institutions. The disclosure was made on Friday by Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton following a tour of the St. Anne's Bay Hospital in St. Anne. The issue of migration of nurses from Jamaica has proven to be worrisome for stakeholders in the island's health sector for quite some time. Executive Dean at the Caribbean School of Science at Jamaica, Dr. Negril claimed at the institution's first graduation ceremony in November last year that about 85% of nurses migrate after being formally trained locally, and the situation was made even more dire by the COVID-19 pandemic. Fast forward to March this year, Tufton told the Parliament that more than 700 nurses in Jamaica have left for jobs overseas since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. In revisiting the issue of migration on Friday, Tufton pointed to how the migration of such healthcare providers was affecting the St. Anne's Bay Hospital. My understanding is that there is a staffing issue here at the hospital. I was told that this hospital loses probably 5 a month through migration. That's 60 or so per year for one hospital, he outlined. Compared that across the board to all hospitals, then you get a sense of how much impact migration is having on our staffing, said Tufton. To curtail the nursing shortage affecting St. Anne's Bay Hospital and other similar institutions locally, the minister said the government is moving ahead with its collaborative program with health facilities overseas. We have a program to try and stem nurse migration by firstly improving work conditions by the expansion of our facilities, but also see where we can collaborate with other institutions, including institutions overseas, to bring back some of those staff even on a temporary basis here, he said. In noting the pressures on staff locally, Tufton commended the health practitioners who remain and those in the trenches who are working very hard to ensure that we can continue to provide the service even with the shortages that we have and even while we try to alleviate the shortages. Mayor asked if cops fear naming gang behind the Spanish Town violence. Spanish Town Mayor Norman Scott is questioning whether the Jamaica Constabulary Force is afraid to name the gang that is responsible for the present spate of deadly violence in the older capital, which escalated last Sunday with a quadruple killing in Tosspen Railway Lane. 2 days after the killing, Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson described the incident as a continuation of a gang conflict and listed 2 persons who were previously charged with murder as persons of interest. The commissioner did not identify the gang that has been responsible for the conflict, but while speaking at the monthly meeting of the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation on Thursday, Scott called on the police to go a step further in naming the gang behind the bloodshed in Spanish Town. He is also demanding that the police inform the public of the motive behind the violent confrontations. The police have a way to put violence in a perspective in this town. I notice I have not heard it this time. I don't hear which gang is causing this violence now. They're silent, but I want to know which gang is causing this violence, or is it that they are afraid to call the name, he quizzed. Scott, who is the People's National Party councillor for the Greendale Division, also claimed that persons living in the Spanish Town area are living in fear and called on the police to do more to protect the citizens. The citizens are filled with fear and anxiety, and they are asking for more protection. Right, Councillor from the Homestead Division, am I not correct that your community people are asking for more protection? Scott asked Mark McLean, the Jamaica Labour Party councillor for the Homestead Division. On Tuesday, the police commissioner said of the 2 persons of interest relative to the conflict, one had absconded bail and the other was reporting on bail. Ahead of Tuesday's press conference, the police identified Neville Butler, 27, of Old Harbour Road, St. Catherine, and Damian Davis, otherwise called Wasi and Spinball, of St. John's Road, Spanish Town, St. Catherine, as persons of interest in the St. Catherine North Police Division, and gave them until 5 p.m. on Tuesday, June 7, to visit the police. It is not clear whether the individuals have since gone into the authorities. The 4 men who were killed in the shooting incident last Sunday were all from Spanish Town addresses and have been identified as 21-year-old Ricardo Moore, otherwise called the Blacks, and the 21-year-old Kirk Barrett, otherwise called the Mikey, both of Railway Lane, 28-year-old Horace Letman of Oxford Road, and the 34-year-old Desmond Bloomfield of Ellerslie Pen. A 5th person was also injured during the incident. Residents of the Tospen Railway Lane area have been pleading with the security forces to establish a presence in the area to prevent more deadly criminal activities there. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.